right, so we are here today providing you guys a unique experience with Ashton Hoobary, who happens to be the starting goalkeeper for Widener University women's soccer team. So we figured that would be a good idea to bring Ashton online. And Ashton, thank you very much for coming aboard. Thank you very much
Welcome.
for taking the time. Because we are getting some questions from high school seniors, couple from juniors, but mostly high school seniors that are about to enter their freshman year as college soccer players. And unfortunately, because of the situation we are with the epidemic, they've had some challenges where their soccer seasons have already been canceled or about to be canceled, and asking questions on and advice on how to prepare for the freshman year, other than what to expect and whatnot. So Aston is going to enter this year her sophomore year. Last year, as I said, she won the starting spot for the Widener's goalkeeping position for the team. So we figure, we take the opportunity and ask some questions. So Ashton, first question we want to go over is just tell us your playing background prior to getting to college.
I really honestly didn't start as young as most college soccer players would. I mean, you hear most of them starting at like ages 3, 4, 5. I started around age 7 or 8, so I was already pretty older when I started. And I just started playing like little rec soccer, seeing if I wanted to do that. And then I moved probably not even a year or two later. I moved right into club soccer because I loved it so much. And that brought my skill level like from 0 to 100. And then I played high school soccer at the same time, and then I went on to college.
Now, did you play the goalkeeper position exclusively, or do you also play the field?
It's actually kind of funny because when I first started playing, I obviously, you start in the field a little first, but I went into the goal basically immediately. And then going into high school soccer, I actually played the field for my high school team. I played midfield, striker, a little defense here and there, but mainly just like midfield. But for my club team, I was goalkeeper. I actually had to end up playing because I played 2 years up for my club team. So I ended up having to play sometimes for the younger girls, the other older teams. So I played all different age levels.
Nice. Did you find that your playing experience on the field, and by the way, that's fantastic. That's something that I, as a coach, recommend to all young players that want to play, the goalkeeper position. And some parents are like, "Oh, my kid loves playing the goal." And even youth soccer coaches, I always recommend, hey, rotate the kids. Don't just go with a dedicated goalkeeper, let's say at the age of 9 years old, 10 years old. Rotate them around.
Right.
This way they get a sense of what it feels like to be in the goal.
Right.
Plus, I feel it's beneficial to the goalkeeper to have a touch, on the field. So my question to you is, you playing on the field, do you think it has helped you in your goalkeeper position, and especially when you got to the college level? And if so, how did it help you?
I think it was probably one of the best decisions I made playing with high school soccer. It taught me how the field players see me in the net because, ironically, goalkeeper for my high school team was like one of my best friends. So me and her talked a lot about me playing in the field as a goalie. And it really helps me to understand how those field players see me and how I control them. And it taught me so much about how I can control them because that wasn't one of my strong suits for the longest time. I really didn't know how to talk to the players. It's still kind of one of my weaknesses, but that taught me to place them so much better and talk to them so much more. And it definitely helped my touch and foot skills on the field.
Did you find that was helpful when you got to the college level?
Oh, yes, for sure. Especially sometimes when I have to, play on the field with the college level girls. Obviously, I'm nowhere good as them with my feet, but it definitely helps so I don't look crazy out there.
Do you think that there's a difference between high school ball and college ball? And if so, what would you say the biggest differences are?
I definitely think there's a difference. Mainly, I would say, is like commitment wise. I feel that especially my high school team there was really looking to play college ball. They were all just kind of there to just have fun in high school and play a sport, where college, like the determination to win and the commitment to be at every practice and put in your effort is extraordinary how different it is at the college level compared to high school.
Are the consequences if there's not a high level of commitment in college, or if you don't attend practices, or different stuff like that? Do you think there's consequences?
Yes, I feel like, I mean, you have a obligation to be at that college practice, where high school it's like, oh, I'm got this to do or that to do. I can't go to my high school practice, where you probably wouldn't get in trouble. Most coaches at the high school level, there would be no consequences for that. Where I feel like if a player missed on our college team for a stupid reason, we'd all be either running or getting in trouble somehow for them.
Got it. Now, when you next question is, how did you become a college goalkeeper? In other words, did you try out as a goalkeeper? Did you make the transition like you did in college? How did you come about, being on the roster on the Widener University squad?
Well, I played in a bunch of college showcases with my club team, and it's hard to get recruited as a goalkeeper, I feel, because you might have 2 shots on you in one game, and that college coach only comes for half the game. They don't really get to see your full potential. So my club coach gave me some great advice to put together a highlight video and send it out to a bunch of college coaches. And then Coach Dan took an interest in me and had me come and look at the campus, and I fell in love with it. And I'm so happy that I chose to play there and continue my academic career there.
So what you're saying is that getting recruited as a goalkeeper for a college roster spot is a bit more difficult than a field player, because you may have a game where there's not a lot of action in the showcase. Are there any other ways you can get, onto a roster in a college other than college, showcases?
I know that, like, especially our team, we do a walk-on tryout, or even just, if you don't have a club team, you can reach out to the coach saying, listen, I'm really interested in playing, and see if they'll let you come on and do a practice with the team so you can show what you can do.
So what you're saying is that if you're good enough and you know that you're good enough, you don't really need a showcase. I mean, you do, but you don't. You could just, contact any university or college that you're interested in, talk to the coach or the assistant coach or the staff, and possibly have them take a look at you. Would you say that's true?
Yes.
Cool. So let's talk a little bit about your college athletic and academic experience as a freshman. Tell us some of your experiences.
I feel that the athletic and academic aspects of college taught me so much so fast in just that freshman year, which happened to be cut short due to coronavirus, and we all had to go home. But I mean, playing college soccer is a big commitment, and it's definitely not easy, but to me, it's totally worth it. And if you're really passionate about playing, I feel that you should pursue it, because I learned so much from it. I mean, it taught me discipline and responsibility that I can use in my schoolwork and once I get into my career and a job and the rest of my life. I mean,
you just talked about the coronavirus. So I'm going to, throw a question that I wasn't planning on asking, but I think it's a good question to ask because a lot of high school seniors or juniors may not see, that much value into it. So the question is, being that you're grounded at home and, you miss your spring season in college, how are you handling this long season? Because usually, your off season, you have spring ball for about a month, right? You guys are involved in training, off season training, some games, but you have some spring season. So your downtime between spring into the pre-camp season for the fall is a lot shorter than it's going to be this year, because this year you don't have that. So now you find yourself in a situation where you need to do certain things to be prepared to come into this fall's preseason. So how are you handling this? Give us some things that you're doing by yourself, or I don't know if you have any contact with any of the your college buddies or what have you. So give us some insight on that, and what our seniors can do to prepare themselves going into this fall season, because it is a unique situation.
Yeah, I definitely think it's really hard. I know I've been kind of struggling with trying to get the proper training I want to get in before fall season comes. Like you said, I'm not getting the training I would get during that spring season. But, you have to work with what you have. I try and run every single day to keep in shape because I don't want to lose that. Like I said before, one of my best friends is also a goalkeeper. So I try and train with her whenever we're both free because she's also a college goalkeeper. So we can really help each other train with drills, because goalkeeping drills, you usually need some other type of person to either kick the ball at you, throw the ball to you, where a field player, you can set up some cones, get some touches in on the ball, but honestly, just utilize whatever you have at your house. You have a wall to pass the ball back and forth, make your first touch better. Just try and use whatever you have.
Thinking back last year into the period where you were a high school senior trying to enter your freshman year as a college goalkeeper, or trying to get a position on the roster, and entering that that preseason camp. Okay, the first week, which is always the hardest. What did you do to prepare yourself, to come into that situation? And when you got there, was it what you expected? Was it different? Was it harder? Was it easier? Talk about that a little bit.
I really just tried to do everything I could to prepare myself for it wise, especially fitness wise and stuff like that. I trained every single day. I did the best I could. And when I got there, it definitely was harder than what I expected. I was like 2 practices a day. And so it was like you're constantly on the field all day and you're sweating and you're hot. And then you go back to your dorm and you're still sweating and you're hot. And it was definitely hard. But honestly, I just pushed through it. I didn't give up. I tried as hard as I could every single practice, every single day. And ended up paying off well. I feel like I learned so much and got so much better in that time frame that I was ready once the season came to play those games.
What would you say the biggest thing that you need is to be prepared for that preseason, first week?
I would say your mental stability. Being fit is one thing. You should definitely be fit, but being mentally prepared to, start with a whole new team and being the freshman and passing the fitness test and trying to be better than your competition. Like, just know that you have what it takes to do it, and not like putting yourself down saying, oh my God, like she's better than me, or I can't do this. Like, you will get better. Just mentally know that you can do it, and I'm sure you will. You'll be fine.
You talked about passing the fitness test. Did you know anything about the fitness test before you got there? And what would you say? Describe what the fitness test is about, because some of the seniors may not know what it is. So describe what the fitness test is about and how can you best prepare for it?
Honestly, I'm not going to lie. The fitness test is hard, especially as me, like a goalkeeper. I don't have to run up and down the field like the players do. My fitness is a little different than what they would normally do. And the day we ran our fitness test, I was, like I just talked about the mental state, I was completely in my head thinking, oh my God, like I can't do this. Oh my God, I was freaking out in my head when I had ran it multiple times over the summer and was able to do it way better than how I did it come fitness test time. So like I said, don't get in your head about it. It's just a fitness test. Like, just do it and try your best. As long as you're trying as hard as you can, you'll be fine.
Do you think that the fitness test, besides, obviously the name is, you got to be fit, right? We want to see how fit you are when you come in. So that's hence the name, fitness test, right? But besides, us seeing how fit you are, do you think there is variables in there, like you just said about the coaching staff saying, how fit you are mentally besides physically, as well as, what are you going to do coming into a new team, or the sophomores, the returning players, sophomores, juniors, seniors, how are they going to, approach that from their standpoint? Do you think there are variables in there?
I definitely think there is, like, coaches seeing, like, you breaking down and, either giving up on the fitness test, or they can see it, like, you're struggling really hard, or they'll either see you struggling or trying to push as hard as you can. And okay, maybe if you end up not passing the fitness test, they may have seen you push as hard as you possibly could to make it to that other end line. And to me, I feel like that's what really matters, because they see that you want to get better and you want to work hard to be where you want to be. Whereas though you just gave up because you're like, oh, no, can't do it. That doesn't look good. You know what I mean?
Obviously, returning players have an advantage of doing the fitness test the second, third, fourth time around, right? So because they know what to expect. But did you see any qualities or characteristics from the returning players towards you or the team that you did not have or you didn't think about going into the first time?
I'm definitely very grateful for our team, because we have a very happy team. They cheered us on the entire time. You got this, keep pushing. Every freshman had someone cheering for them during it, because obviously, like you said, these sophomores have done this before. They've struggled through it before. And even the days leading up to the fitness test, they kept telling us, don't stress about it. You'll be fine. You can do it. Don't get too into your head. And I think that really helped. But like I said, I did get into my head and I made myself very nervous, which now going into being my sophomore year, I'm not going to let that happen. I'm just going to be like, I've done this before. I know I can do it. I'm just going to go do it and I'll be fine. But these incoming freshmen, I just try and tell them that you'll be fine. You can do it. Don't get into your head. That's the biggest piece of advice I'd want to give them.
So you're going to be a good positive influence for the incoming freshmen, right?
I'm going to try to be as best I can.
Quality. So let's move on and let's talk about some of your, if any, if you have any influences in your life this past year, or your first year in collegiate lifestyle, athletics, academics. Have you had any influences in that time span?
Honestly, my parents support me so much. I'm so grateful for them. Like I said with the fitness test thing, I called them right after, freaking out, oh my God, I didn't do as good as I wanted to. I'm freaking out. And, my parents were there for me, it's going to be okay. You'll be fine. And everything ended up working out. And right when I first had to move into school, I'm a homebody. So I chose a school that's a little closer to my home, because I like my dog and my house and my bed and everything about my home. So I didn't really want to be too far away. And at first I was kind of freaking out, but my parents brought my dog to school for me to see him and hug him and, calm down. And that was great. They're probably the biggest influences in my life.
Nice. Very, very nice. So let's talk about some of the things that you've taken out of your first year in your academic and athletic life that you find yourself applying in your everyday non-collegiate life, which again, is not full year, but let's say from the time that you leave college or when you visit home, what are some of the things that you can take away and apply in your regular day life that you didn't do as much when you were a senior, or in high school, should I say, not just a senior?
Like I said, the responsibility and discipline that both my academic college life and my athletic college life taught me is crazy, because having to be at practice twice a day, or having to go to class all day and then go straight to practice, and still having to come back and study and do your homework, you need really good time management for that. And doing that, it taught me so much, you know what I mean? And having the responsibility to, I don't really have many bills to pay per se right now, but it helps you with all that type of things. And getting to places on time and going home and knowing I have the weekend to come home, but I have to come back and I still have schoolwork to do while I'm home, and soccer to train for, and to come back and to still have practice and all those types of things. It really helped. It really has.
Would you say time management is one of the most important things at the college level?
Oh, for sure. Trying to balance your school work, and sometimes you have sessions during finals week, and you have 4 different finals to study for, and you're trying to cram it all in your head, but you also still have soccer. It's a lot, but if you can manage it all, it's great.
Cool. Any thoughts that you want to share with us, and not just me, but our audience, which again, and I want to specify how important I think it is for you to take the time and pass on your knowledge and your experience that you've gained over the year, because I get, high school students, especially seniors, but some juniors, because of the position that I'm in. I mean, most college coaches are also involved in youth soccer, and we have players that we train, that being field players or, goalkeepers, in my position. So they ask questions. I always say it's a benefit if you have a college coach as your club or academy coach. So pick his brains or her brains, use them, and grab that information to make your life easier, or your recruiting process, or whatever you want to do going into your freshman year if you're going to play college sports. So I think coming from you, my had a different core than a college coach. So I think it's very crucial that you're taking the time to do this. But talk a little bit about what do you think your high school buddies can do to prepare themselves coming into it that we did not cover in this question and answer?
Honestly, the biggest piece of advice I would give any incoming to the college level high school students is don't give up. Like, no matter how hard you want to just stop, don't, because it will pay off. And when you're first trying to adjust to that college life, it's going to be hard, but just persevere and keep pushing through it. And even just, your everyday training, you're out running a couple miles, push yourself and run that last mile, because you're going to be so proud after you did it that it's going to make you the next day want to run that same amount again, and then you'll get even farther, farther, and farther, because pushing yourself and getting yourself to that higher level is such an award and like a proud moment for myself that I'm like, wow, I did that, and I can keep doing that. And, nothing worth having comes easy, so it's going to be a lot of work, but it's totally worth it.
Let me ask you this: you keep talking about pushing yourself and challenging yourself. What happens once let's just fast forward. In other words, so you're coming into the college situation as a freshman. Obviously, there's challenges that there's a new lifestyle, new expectations, commitment. You talked about structure. You talked about time management, pushing yourself, mental game, all these things. So you're in now, right? As a freshman, you've got a couple weeks under your belt, but the season starts going. Do you find yourself that you keep talking about constantly challenging yourself? Do you find yourself, or did you find yourself always have to maintain that higher level because there's somebody else ready to challenge you for your position or for your time on the field, or anything? Do you find that to be true?
I think it taught me to find that be true during that freshman season. Not that I didn't so much believe it during that entire time. I was pushing myself, but now coming out of freshman year, I'm like, wow, I need to push myself as hard as I can every single time, because I realized how much it does pay off. I mean, just in like my soccer season alone, I felt like I learned so much and got so much better in just those couple of months, that it was because every practice I got pushed as hard as I could go, and I didn't think I could go anymore, but I could go 10 more minutes or 20 more minutes or whatever the case may be, and I think it really paid off.
What do you think? What do you think is the best thing to come out of your freshman year as far as being pushed, challenged, athletically and academically?
Honestly, like I said, just don't give up on it, and that's what I've learned. I mean, my practices weren't easy. I always had to push myself, but I didn't give up. I just kept going. And that's honestly the biggest thing I've taken out of it, especially like I struggled sometimes with certain subjects in school, but I would ask for help and keep trying the problems and keep working on it. And eventually I got it and I passed and I get the tests done, and just don't give up on it.
So would you say that you have a surrounding group that helps you as a college athlete on and off the field? So if you have a challenge, let's say with a course, or if you have an injury, or whatever the case may be, do you find yourself that you have a core group that supports you that you may not have had in high school? Would you say that's true?
Yes, for sure. The players on our team now are some of my best friends. One of the players on my team was my roommate and is still going to be my roommate, and she has such a strong personality, the never give up type of personality. We're very similar into everything we do. So, like she likes to go to the gym. I like to go to the gym. So we push each other. She plays a very different position. Obviously, she's not a goalie. She plays midfield, but it takes a lot of work to play that.
Would you say that the goalkeeping spot, because you keep saying that it was very difficult, you mentioned that a couple of times. Do you feel that sometimes as a goalkeeper, the training is more difficult, even on days where field players might have, a lesser amount of work to do?
I honestly think it depends. Like I said before, like a goalkeeper's hard work is kind of different than a field player's hard work. I mean, like for example, a midfielder, they have to be on this side of the field and this side of the field. They run up and down that field the whole game. But, at one of my practices, for example, I have to get up and down and jump a million times and fly my body across the net to save this ball and then get up and hurry up and get to the other side and do it again. Where they're like running up and down, where I'm like getting up and down. Like I feel like it's just a different type of hard work. And, sometimes like we have pregame practices the day before where they're kind of just doing like a walkthrough of what they're going to do in games and stuff like that, and I'm over at the net like working as hard as I can. So come that game the next day, I can make that hard save. So sometimes, those are the days where I'm working a lot harder than they are, but I know that they are also working just as hard, different practices. Just depends on the days, you know what I mean?
So last question. Some advice for goalkeepers, okay? Especially female goalkeepers coming into a collegiate lifestyle. What do you feel are qualities that a female goalkeeper must possess to be successful at the collegiate level?
Honestly, like I said before, probably just your mental state. It's probably my biggest thing. It takes a lot to do what we do. And, some days it's like I said, like they're just doing a walkthrough practice and I'm over here working. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, oh, why did I want to do this? Like, this is so much work. I'm so exhausted. And they're just over there doing like a walkthrough. And you just got to think, well, I do this because tomorrow in that game, it gets through all those field players. And then I get to make the save. And they're all, so happy that I was there to save them. And that just makes me like so happy. And, that's kind of where your mental state comes in, where you're like, I'm just going to push through this practice, get it done so tomorrow I can play that game the best that I can and be the best that I can.
How about technically? What do you think is important? Solid hands, high balls, ability to dive, ability to work with your defense, ability to move around the goal, ability to dominate your 18. What would you say, it's important in the college game?
I would say my two biggest would have to be being able to control your players, especially your defenders and your goal. And two, constantly being able to watch the game and staying on your feet. That's one of the biggest things I've learned in this past season was constantly staying on my feet, constantly moving around the net, because that helps me stay engaged to the game so much more than I've ever realized. Where having, strong hands is good. Being able to dominate the box is good. Being able to dive all the way across the net is good. But you being able to stay focused in that game is going to make the save that you would have had to fly all the way across the net to save easier, because you were in the right position, because you were engaged in the game and you were where you were supposed to be.
That was a great answer. So what you're saying, let me just clarify this, especially for the younger goalkeepers. So what you're saying, your ability to follow the game and position yourself at the right spot, at the right time, read the game, and have good positioning helps you not to have to make those difficult diving saves that, yeah, they look great, but first of all, they're difficult and there's no guarantee you're going to get to the ball. But by you being able to position yourself, you make that save look ordinary. You make that save look easy and make life easier for you. Would you say that's true?
Yes.
That is a great point. Great point. Listen, I do appreciate you spending the time with us. I don't know if you have any last thoughts that you want to share that maybe we didn't cover.
I would just say, you got this, dream big, fight for what you want. If you want to be the starting goalkeeper, you be it. Like, you fight for that position and get what you want, you know what I mean? And also, just have fun. make sure you're always having fun with it, because if you're not, then don't do it.
Ashton, thank you very much for joining us. Once again, Ashton Hoobary is the starting goalkeeper for Widener University women's soccer team. Lots of luck this upcoming season. I hope you guys, which I'm part of the staff, of course, so I hope we have a great season. I'm personally so thrilled to enter, this season. We had a very, very good recruiting class. Yep. And, something that I always tell all the players, including you, if I haven't said that before, a coach's position is just a blessing, because we get to live memories every year where you guys, go through your 4 years, and something that a lot of, players forget, coming to a college life as a college student first, and second as an athlete, because those 4 years are going to go by pretty fast, and your rest of your life may include soccer or may not include soccer. But having soccer as a secondary measure to your athletic position, it's a great thing. So the memories that you guys create are 4 years, and then you move on, where we get to relive those memories every year. So I specifically, when I became a college coach, did not think about that, and I'm so grateful to be around, you guys all the time, because we learn things from you guys as well. But just the memories that I have from every single year and the players that I work with are just, incredible. I cannot put into words. So lots of luck, work hard. We'll see each other in a few months, and, go Pride, right?
Yes.
Fantastic. Have a good one.